Hello everyone, welcome back to the series of lectures on DBMS. So in the previous lecture, we learned about the entities and the entity types. So every entity has certain characteristics that describe it. These characteristics are known as attributes. So in today's lectures, we will understand what are the attributes, why are they required, and all their classifications with easy examples. An attribute is a property or characteristic that describes an entity type. For example, the student entity type. So what can be the attributes? Attributes can be roll number, name, your gender, your phone number, your age, etc. Imagine your college asks you to fill an admission form. They don't ask only about your name. So they will ask about your address, your phone number, your parents' phone number, your email ID, your gender, your date of birth, etc. So these pieces of information describe you, and hence they are called the attributes. In an ER diagram, an attribute is represented using an oval. Let's see an ER diagram showcasing the bus entity type, student entity type, and department entity type. So here the bus number and the route, they are describing the entity type bus. Similarly, the serial number, gender, name, and phone number, they are describing the student. And finally, the department number, location, and department name, they are describing the department entity type. Next, let's see the table. So attributes, they actually store the actual data values like your serial number, your name, and your gender. So your roll number like 101, 102, 103, etc. They are stored inside the attribute S number. Your name like Souvik or Nikki or Saurav. So they are stored under the attribute name. And finally, your gender, maybe your male or female or transgender, etc. They are stored inside the gender attribute. Now, attributes, they are not all the same. Depending upon the type of information they store, they are classified into different categories. So let's find this out using an example. So in this diagram, we are seeing different categories of attributes. So let's check them one by one. The first is simple attribute. So these attributes, they cannot be divided any further. For example, your gender over here, it's a simple attribute. Then you can have your roll number. Then you can have your serial number or the bus number, or you can have the department number. So these cannot be divided any further. So these are called simple attributes. So these are represented using a single oval like this. Next, we have the composite attribute. So composite attributes, they can be divided into smaller attributes. For example, your name, it can be divided into your first name, your middle name, your last name. Another example can be your address, like your house number, your street, your city, your state, your pin code, etc. So composite attributes, they make the data easier to manage. Next, we are looking into the third type of attribute called the key attribute. The key attributes, they help in identifying the entity uniquely. For example, you have your bus number, which can help you in identifying every bus. Then you have the serial number, which can help in uniquely identifying every student. And then you have the department number, which can help you uniquely identify any department. Key attributes, they are represented using an underlined attribute. The next classification is a derived attribute. So these can be calculated from another attribute. For example, your age attribute. It can be calculated from your date of birth. It is represented using the dashed oval. And why is it so? Because your age, it changes every year, but your database, it usually stores the date of birth rather than your age. Next is the multi-valued attribute. So these store the multiple values for a single entity. For example, your phone number. So you can have your personal number, you can have your parents' number, you can have your hostel number. It is represented using a double oval. Your degree is your multi-valued attribute. Similarly, your certificates. The last one is the partial key attribute. So it is not used generally in the ER diagram. So it is used only in the weak entity types. So in the previous lecture, you had seen this. In the result, which was a weak entity, we used the partial key and the parent key. So here subject is the partial key and your student ID is the parent key. And you can see that this is represented using an oval with a dotted underline. So let's summarize the concept. First, we have the simple attribute. It is represented using a single oval, for example, your gender. Next, we have the composite attribute. So it has connected ovals. For example, your name can have your first name and the last name. The third is the key attribute. Its symbol is underlined oval. For example, your roll number. Next, we have derived attribute represented using a dashed oval. For example, your age, which can be derived using your date of birth. Next, you have your multi-valued attribute denoted by double oval. Example can be your phone number or your certificates or your degree. And finally, we have the partial key. It is denoted by dashed underline oval. For example, it can be your subject name and it can be your dependent name, etc. So having built this knowledge of different kinds of attributes, let's solve a few simple questions. These are the objective questions. So which attribute uniquely identifies an entity? So what should be the answer? It's key attribute. So a key attribute is an attribute whose values can uniquely identify every entity. For example, a student roll number or your employee ID. So it uniquely identifies every student or every employee. The next question is, which attribute is represented by double oval in an ER diagram? So your answer is multi-valued attribute, correct. So a multi-valued attribute, it can have multiple values for a single entity. For example, your student may have your multiple phone numbers. Next question is, age is generally calculated from, your answer is date of birth. So age is a derived attribute because it is calculated from the stored attribute date of birth. Next, we move on to the question number 4. So question number 4 is, which attribute can be divided into smaller meaningful parts? Your answer is your composite attribute. So a composite attribute consists of smaller sub-attributes. For example, your name can have your first name, middle name, last name, or your address can have your house number, street number, city, your state, your PIN code, etc. Next, which attribute is represented by a dashed oval? Your answer is derived attribute, because a derived attribute is calculated from another attribute and it is represented by a dashed oval. For example, your age can be derived from your date of birth. Next question is, which of the following is a simple attribute? So here your answer is your gender. Why? Because name is your composite attribute. Similarly, address is composite attribute. Phone number is multi-valued attribute. So your correct answer is gender. It is a simple attribute denoted by single oval. Which of the following is a composite attribute? So your correct answer is your name. Next question is, which attribute is usually stored in a database? Your age, your year of experience, and your current age, it can be derived from date of birth. Therefore, your correct answer is date of birth. And your database, it actually stores the date of birth, and other things can be derived from the date of birth. So date of birth is called the stored attribute, and the remaining three are the derived attribute. The next question is, which attribute type is represented by an underlined oval? The correct answer is your key attribute. Finally, a student has 3 phone numbers. So phone number is an example of multi-valued attribute. So that is all what I have for you in this lecture. Today we studied about the attributes and its classification. Then we solved a few questions. In the next lecture, we will study about another important thing of the ER diagram called the relationship. Thank you for joining me. Bye bye.